Rivaling Angel Reese, Iowa teammate gets the green light of Caitlin Clark and Kate Martin for latest venture. It's no surprise that players who share years of court time and collective leadership in college forge strong bonds. Such is the case with two of the rookies, Caitlin Clark and Kate Martin, who despite entering the big stage, haven't left behind the friendships made during their college careers. It once again became obvious when their former Iowa teammates celebrated a personal milestone, and both the rookies were there to celebrate her. Recently, the Iowa alum Gabby Marshall released a video on her Instagram that saw her announcing the start of her own podcast. "So I've debated starting a podcast for a while now, and I decided to just go for it. I've been blessed with an amazing platform that I want to use and build. Therefore, we're excited to announce the Just Gabbin podcast." Marshall also hinted that her boyfriend will be joining her on the show. Together, they'll dive into discussions about her basketball career, share candid jokes, and tell never-before-heard stories. While Martin just showed enthusiasm, Caitlin Clark rather made a promise to her Hawkeye teammate. The Fever rookie, reassuring her friend's project, wrote, "Gonna subscribe, obviously." Angel Reese might just have some competition now for her newly released Unapologetically Angel. Debuting last week, the Sky Forward show follows similar concepts, except she is expected to have an all-star cast of guests regardless. Gabby clearly has her fans, who double down as friends from the WNBA, locked in for herself. Gabby Marshall has cheerleaders for life. Through graduating from Iowa, Gabby Marshall retired from professional sports and pivoted to a new career path in North Carolina, where she's pursuing a master's in occupational therapy. Just before she left, the Iowa star penned down a heartfelt note, recalling her college journey. "I have been given, people I have met, and friendships that will last forever because of the game of basketball. Thank you, Iowa and Hawkeye Nation, for being my home away from home," a part of her post read. Clark and Martin were of course there to reciprocate. The trio played over 4 years together at Iowa and were significant in their consecutive seasons leading to NCAA finals. But that needn't be the last time that they were spotted together. Considering Kate Martin recently appeared on Jada Jamfi's Fresh Talk podcast, a little reunion on Marshall's new venture isn't all too much of an ask. ESPN's Monica McNutt called out by WNBA fans over sudden Caitlin Clark turnaround. Pundits have had nothing but good things to say about Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever now that they're in the midst of an absolute tear. The Fever are coming off a 104-100 overtime victory over the Atlanta Dream on Sunday, September 8th, which marked their 8th win in 10 games played since the mid-season Olympic break. One analyst who has jumped on the Indiana hype train is ESPN's Monica McNutt, who incidentally wasn't exactly the biggest Caitlin Clark fan earlier in the season. In fact, the former NCAA star took a lot of flack when she covered one of the Fever's games earlier in the season, with some fans even going as far as branding her as a Clark hater. This point, however, McNutt has been much more liberal when it comes to heaping praise on Clark and the Fever. In a recent episode of ESPN's WNBA Countdown, the analyst had nothing but good things to say about Clark, her all-star teammate Aaliyah Boston, and the rest of the Indiana squad. Clark and Boston have been the second-best scoring duo in the league behind Aya Wilson and Jackie Young, McNutt pointed out. It has been so incredibly efficient. To me, the numbers bear it out. They have been on a terrific tear since the All-Star break. But it also looks like they're playing with joy. They are gelling and having fun. Despite her seemingly newfound affinity toward Clark and the Fever, the fans still weren't too pleased with McNutt. In fact, the supporters did not hold back in calling her out for McNutt's supposed change of heart. Clark and Boston have been the second-best scoring duo in the league behind Aya Wilson and Jackie Young, McNutt pointed out. It has been so incredibly efficient. To me, the numbers bear it out. They have been on a terrific tear since the All-Star break. But it also looks like they're playing with joy. They are gelling and having fun. Despite her seemingly newfound affinity toward Clark and the Fever, the fans still weren't too pleased with McNutt. In fact, the supporters did not hold back in calling her out for McNutt's supposed change of heart. If you still have any doubt, it's official. The Caitlin Clark effect is verified. The superstar rookie of the Indiana Fever has been setting new records for ticket sales, television ratings, and merchandise sales. And that's not all, she's also been putting up historic numbers on the basketball court. But the Caitlin Clark effect just got elevated even more. as it's still pulling in crazy TV figures despite taking on the NFL. The Fever squared off Friday against the Minnesota Lynx, with the contest being broadcasted on ION. Indiana lost 99-88. Up against the Brazil matchup between the Green Bay Packers and Philadelphia Eagles, the game still pulled in a whopping 1.26 million viewers, and ended up becoming the third most watched contest in WNBA history in terms of broadcasts on ION. This is crazy. I never thought I'd see the day where something legitimately competes with the NFL, let alone the WNBA. But here we are. And then when you focus solely on Caitlin Clark, you see her mark. Not only is she leaving an impact on women's basketball and women's sports, but she's doing it with sports, period. Let the hate continue, I guess, but the woman clearly deserves her flowers.